Yo, what's going on, people? So here we are today, January 11th, 2018, and Nintendo just got done unveiling their very first Direct for the new year. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the rumors were true. We finally got our hands on a Nintendo Direct Mini. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, not what we all expected, and I'll talk about the meltdown on Twitter later because it was so glorious. But first things first, we're just going to go through the rundown of the things that they unveiled because they actually showed off a lot of decent stuff. So first things first, this is pretty much my big takeaway from the digital event. The World Ends With You Final Remix. Yes, you guys, Square Enix, all of those rumblings that we heard, it ended up being true. They are reviving the series with this installment on Nintendo Switch. Coming out sometime this year, they didn't have a release date. You're going to be able to play The World Ends With You. Once again, you can choose from whether or not you want to play it touchscreen or with Joy-Con support. It's going to include, and I quote, a sizable new scenario. So that is just freaking insane because I love The World Ends With You so much, and I've always wanted some type of continuation, whether it was a spiritual successor or a sequel. I wanted to see more of this story, and fingers crossed that this scenario is actually worthwhile and it's not something like, you know, the Final Fantasy episode 15 Prompto, all that nonsense that they've been releasing. I hope this is something that actually has some meat to it. Scrolling down the list, we have Pokken Tournament Deluxe Edition downloadable content. This is very interesting because Nintendo is releasing DLC for a supposed complete edition. I know some individuals were pissed off about that because they went and they bought the game again for $60 and now they're coming out with DLC for it. I understand the sentiment. I think it is kind of scumbaggy, if you will. I'm all for post-release DLC for Game of the Year edition if it's free, but the fact that you have to pay more of it, what are they going to do? Come out with a DX Definitive Edition? You know what I'm saying? But regardless of that, it is a fighter. It is getting new content, new characters. So in that case, it's pretty cool. It's coming in 2 waves. January 31st, you're going to have one set, and then on March 23rd, you're going to have the second set. Next up, we have Kirby Star Allies. This was revealed last year at E3. They have a new trailer for the game, shows off abilities, and it's coming out on March 16th. That's actually my sister's birthday, so that's pretty cool. Maybe we can play some Kirby together. I don't know. Dragon Quest Builders, there's going to be a demo released on Nintendo Switch today. I am not a big fan of all the Dragon Quest spin-off games. To be honest, I keep it with the mainline series, so I'm probably not going to try this out. I didn't try it out when it was on PS4. However, I have heard some really good things about this game. To me, it just looked like a Minecraft clone, but maybe you guys can convince me. Comment down below why you like Dragon Quest Builders and if you're anticipating it on Nintendo Switch. Next up, we have, well, you can just call this a slew of Wii U ports. We're probably going to bang them out one after the other. We have Hyrule Warriors Ultimate Edition. Yes, this is the second time they're re-releasing this game. Came out on the Wii U a few years ago. Then they ported it to 3DS, which was the, and I think my boy Tundex said it best, the definitive inferior version of the game. It had the most amount of content, but it was the worst running version. Now it's coming on the Switch, and you don't have to worry about that. It's going to have all the DLC. They're going to include some Breath of the Wild themed content, so that's great. And yeah, you can play that on Nintendo Switch if you were into the Musou games. I am not. I'm going to avoid it. Brand new announcement, we have Mario Tennis Aces. This is coming from wow, it's coming from Camelot. These are the guys who worked on Golden Sun and some of the other Mario sports games. It's coming to Switch, which, okay, yes, this is a good thing. It's a game announcement, but if this is just another tired old Mario spinoff, I'm really getting sick of it because the Mario sports titles, and to a lesser extent, all the Mario spinoffs, have, in my personal opinion, been garbage. They have not been able to replicate how good the experiences were on the N64, on the GameCube. Ever since, like, once the Nintendo Wii came out, all the spin-offs started to go down the shitter, man. But we'll have to see. Maybe they finally learned the errors of their way and they realized that they can't just put out a game and have it sell. Because I'm sure the past games did not perform well. Well, critically, we knew they didn't perform well, but maybe financially, folks didn't buy it. Next port we have here is Ys 8. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Ys 8 released last year on PS4 and Vita. The PC version, I think, is making its way sometime soon within the next couple of weeks. And now it's coming to Nintendo Switch, summer 2018. I'm very excited for this. I like the Ys series, but I didn't pick up Ys 8 since, you know, the onslaught of games last year was just insane. So now I have incentive to pick it up on the Switch. I really enjoyed playing Ys Memories of Celeste on the Vita. I loved playing it portably, and that's just the best experiences that I have with the franchise. So I'm definitely picking this up on Nintendo Switch, and you guys will see some impression videos. Super Mario Odyssey is getting a new update, some post-release content. You'll be able to play, I believe, with Luigi or something with the Balloon World mode. I didn't really pay too much attention to this because I'm not a big fan of Super Mario Odyssey. Not that I think the game is bad in any way, I just haven't played it, so post-release content for this is kind of like, oh, okay, that's even more stuff that I have to play. But I will be picking up Mario Odyssey eventually. I know some people are saying, why didn't you pick it up already? But calm down. In time, ladies and gentlemen, in time. You see all the games in my backlog I gotta finish? Come on. Okay, now on to a really surprising announcement we have from SNK. SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy. So this is the game that was rumored to be in development for a while. SNK said they were working on something for the Switch. Nobody knew what it was. And here we have it, man. It's very heavy on the fan service. Like, no joke. This is the type of game that you don't want to play in public. It comes off as very weeb-ish, if you will. But I'm sure that it's going to be a great fighter. And even though the aesthetics are strange, it's going to have a really big cult following, and folks are going to love playing it. In addition to that, Art of Fighting 2 is coming out today on Nintendo Switch on the eShop, so you guys can go check that out. Mario plus Rabbids DLC, you're going to be able to play as Donkey Kong in the spring. And in addition to that, of course, they just remind people that it is going to be getting more post-release content, which is very cool. Ubisoft, I got to commend them for actually going the extra mile and supporting the game and not just throwing it out there and not doing much of anything. Payday 2 has a firm release date, February 27th. We already knew that. There's a time-exclusive character coming on the Switch. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I played the original Payday. I got it free on PS Plus, the sequel. And it's cool for what it is, but it's not really something to write home about. I'll probably see if I can get it on Nintendo Switch. If it runs very well, I think it'd be very fun to play with people. You have this game right here from EA's Originals, which is where they make indie games. You have this game called, I think it's called Faye, right? It's Faye. And then you have another game called Celeste. Celeste, I believe, has been talked about before, and people are just wondering, like, where's the release date for this? I assume it's Celeste, right? So, yeah, it's very surprising to see EA coming back to the Switch, you know what I'm saying? I would love to see more of their, like, little indie titles show up on the system, like Unraveled. I do think that Ubisoft should get on board with this and release Child of Light. I think that'd be excellent on Nintendo Switch. Let's see, you got another Wii U port, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Again, something we expected. You know, Nintendo's really just trying to even forget that the Wii U happened. And to be honest, I don't blame them. I actually have a whole video coming this Sunday about the Nintendo Switch's port problem, if you will. Spoiler alert for that video, I actually don't have a port problem. Bring on the Wii U ports and bring on the ports of last generation games like Fallout New Vegas. Anyways, that video is coming Sunday. You guys can look forward to that. Donkey Kong's coming out on May 4th. And then the final game, it's been rumored for the past year now, and we finally got a confirmation. Dark Souls Remastered coming out May 25th. This is coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and of course the Nintendo Switch. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we will be able to praise the sun when we're actually outside. It is a dream come true until you realize that you're actually outside and the Switch has a terrible battery life, so take your ass back indoors. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was the entirety of today's Nintendo Direct Mini. It's a sizable amount of content, if I don't say so myself. Yes, the majority of them were ports of older games on the Wii U and games that released on other systems. We got a couple of new announcements there, like Mario Tennis, of course, and the SNK game. But as a whole, I'm actually perfectly fine with this. I think this is a sizable Direct. I think it highlights a lot of the new content coming towards the system, and it's not just stuff that you already knew about it. Like, even the games that you already knew were coming, they announced updates and it was just like that, whatever. They announced a lot of new games. Granted, like I said, they were ports of older titles, but come on, The World Ends With You. First off, that game coming back out, just thank you, Square Enix, thank you. and Dark Souls Remastered come to the Switch, Bandai Namco could have just skipped the Switch entirely and said, oh, well, you know, whatever, you can't, whatever, you know, the usual excuse. But they saw the success of Xenoverse 2, which just crossed 500,000 copies, by the way, on the Nintendo Switch. So yeah, Fighters is probably happening. Just all these games paint a brighter picture for Nintendo, like outside of just, you know, we need all these crazy AAA first-party titles. We're getting all the smaller games in here. That's something a lot of people don't realize about these releases. Yes, it might not seem big to you, but if you are a person who owns the Switch, we already know that the Switch demands you buying games, more so than previous Nintendo systems. Like, if I had a Wii U and a PS4, I'm not getting the game on the Wii U. I will get it on PS4. But the Nintendo Switch is a system that makes you go, hey, this game is pretty much the same across the board like Ease, so why don't I get it on the Switch and play it portably? I mean, it's not like my Vita's gonna get any more love. So yeah, as it stands, I'm perfectly okay with this. I don't know where people were getting all these crazy, wild, like, just these anticipations. It was just way too freaking high, man. Everyone was just under the impression that since this was the 1-year anniversary from the reveal of the Nintendo Switch, not the actual console debuting, but the reveal, they assumed that, oh, we're supposed to get like this crazy Nintendo Direct and they're going to talk about everything for the entire year. Why does Nintendo have to do that? Like, we've already seen what they did in 2017, right? So 2018, their first Direct of the Year should not be highlighting games that are coming out at the end of the year. If anything, they should be talking about the games that are coming out in the next 6 months, which is what they did for the most part, with the exception of a few titles where we don't have a clear release date. They talked about games that are coming out soon, within the next 3 to 4 months. That is something that I think long-term will prove beneficial to the Nintendo Directs, because look what happened last generation, if you will. So weird to say that. With the Nintendo Wii U, they announced so many games at that January 2013 Nintendo Direct that didn't come out for years. Xenoblade Chronicles X, they revealed that January 2013, the game didn't come out till the end of 2015. Okay? Like, so why would they do that? Like, what's the point of announcing games 2 to 3 years in advance at a Direct and then have them not come out? I know Nintendo likes to reveal games that are somewhat farther along in development than other companies, with the exception of things like Metroid, where all we got was a JPEG. But being realistic here, I think we're going to see more of these Direct minis maybe spread out every quarter, in addition to like the game-themed focus Directs like Fire Emblem. But as it stands, it's like, why do you need to know every single thing that's coming to the Switch? Like, we know there are things in development. So just let things run their course and we'll see what happens. Like this random Nintendo Mini that they put up, that's probably not the end of it. They're probably going to talk about other stuff soon. So as it stands, coming from a person who's very critical of Nintendo and went into this with no expectations, I wasn't expecting to see F-Zero or a Grand Theft Auto 5 port or any of these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, what difference would a GTA 5 port have made at this Nintendo Direct? What relevance is that outside of, oh, hey, Rockstar's back and this is a major title people love to play? Like, you guys would still be complaining that there's no F-Zero and there's no Star Fox and there's no Metroid gameplay. I'm not trying to make this a case of, oh, you're never satisfied, because I'm not that type of dude. But think realistic here. Nintendo has no reason to do a Direct just because they did one last year. You know what I'm saying? And everyone was just going crazy based off all these leaks, and just, come on now. Let's be realistic here. Me, myself, and I telling y'all to be realistic after I did that video saying we should demand better from Nintendo. Let that sink in. Anyways, from me to you for now, my name is NGS signing out, and like always, I will catch you guys later. Peace. World ends with you, baby.